Hello everybody, this is White Wolf. I hope everyone is doing well. And we are going live, and it seems like the internet connection is good, so I'm just not going to restart it. So we are starting off this live. I wanted to give this channel a message, and wherever you're receiving it, how you're receiving it, I hope you receive it in good time, but also just understanding I'm taking the pulse on the collective and what we're experiencing. So one of the things that I'm definitely experiencing is that we're all being pushed to leadership roles. We're all being molded like the potter with the clay, and we're all being changed in such a big way, in an impactful way. And it's kind of thrusting us to act on our faith. It's thrusting us to change our circumstances. It's thrusting us to really change the way we feel about ourselves, the way we view ourselves, the way that we view life as a whole. And also how we just view everything, our finances, our wealth, everything that we think about on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, whether it's stress or anxiety, learning how to transmute that energy and learning how to change the narrative and change the theme, but also learning how to change and integrate and balance the energies within ourselves, because we're changing the darker energies into light energy, and we're changing the polarity of positive and negative, but also we're changing the way that things are being caused and the way that it's being affected in our lives. So everything in our life is just trying to let us know that there is a saturation of the soul. There is a maturation of the soul, and there is something that always pushes us to be better than what we think we are. And in our weakest moments, we are stronger than we think that we are. So a lot of times when we're going along the journey and we're expanding and healing and integrating, but also being more of service and acting on the things that we've been afraid to act on, but also learning how to channel our energy for the greater good. When we learn how to channel our energy for the greater good, it allows us to see ourselves in a much different light. It actually activates something inside of ourselves that generates different parallel timelines and circumstances and experiences, but also learning that we are the reason why everything is being appeared and being directed and being created right in front of us. And seeing the unfolding of that and seeing how we are being used as the vessel of source, as the creation of consciousness, and we allow ourselves to see that we are a universe and we're just tapping into the preferred timeline that we're on, the preferred timeline of enlightenment. So we allow ourselves to see that enlightenment comes in many different forms, but also the way that we deliver, the way that we relay, the way that we act on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. How we carry ourselves is a determination on how we feel and how we think and how we act and how we walk and how we do every single thing when we tap into our transcendental consciousness. It really allows us to show everything out into the open and not leaving anything left on the table, but leaving it all out on the table so that we are able to see ourselves in a much different light, to see ourselves at a different capacity, and to see ourselves living the best life, but choosing to live that best life, choosing to live the most direct experience here and now, because we've never had an experience that we've never had. So the only way to tap into a direct experience is to be present with every experience, to be present with everything, and to let go of the limitations and let go of the chains and the energetic bondages, but also the things that we're afraid to do or the things that we don't really want to do, but we do them anyway because it delves deep inside of ourselves and lets us know what we need to do and how it's for the betterment of our journey, and it's for the betterment of what's going on and what we're supposed to be of service at. So it really allows us to know how to love, how to give compassion, how to have actual empathy and not this false empathy that we have on this planet. Because compassion sometimes can be enabling. We can't enable ourselves, we have to make ourselves able. We have to give ourselves the ability. We have to teach ourselves to learn how to walk with Source. And then when we learn how to walk with Source and we have that waltz with the Creator, and we allow ourselves to even change our dialect, to change our words, to change how we feel, to change our thoughts, but also just to change what we tap into. And sometimes it's just breaking a pattern. Sometimes it's accountability. Sometimes it's learning that you're very resilient, even when you don't think you are. And sometimes it's knowing that you're not that strong, but learning how to allow Source to help you and to nudge you and to guide you, so that you're not thinking that you have all the power, but you're allowing yourself to walk with the Creator so that you do have the power, and you know that you have it, and you know that you've always possessed it. You just didn't have the recognition of it. So it's allowing ourselves to see that we can have the recognition of Source in every single moment of every single day, and learning how to be patient towards it, and learning how to have allowance towards it, but learning how to be present and to tap into it every single second of the day, even if it's just for a brief moment. You can literally give yourself time to meditate. But it's also just giving yourself time to be yourself. And when I say be yourself, it's really just learning how to carry the torch, the flame, the sacred flame, to the next person and plant that next seed. And always inspire. And always, when you are being presented in such a light where you're supposed to act on service, always do it. So we're all just being pushed towards something. We're all being pushed, nudged, and we're all being sent somewhere. So if we understand that we're being sent somewhere, and we're always being nudged, and we're always learning, and we're always being reflected something that needs to be cleared within ourselves, but also it's a revelation of how the world is changing, how the world is coming to this understanding, and how the world is healing at the same time with the simultaneity. But we're learning how to be a non-dual awareness, meaning that we have an independent awareness of who we are. But not of just who we are, but who we are in our spirit, how we project, how we accumulate, how we go about everything within our existence. So we can allow ourselves to really project properly, but also enunciate properly, and to really proclaim what we want and to declare what we want, living a life of affirmation, but living a life of gratitude, but also realizing that the only way that you're activated is if you receive the activation itself. Because a lot of us were in our heads, and I'm one of those people, because a while back ago I had a message that I needed to get out of my head and get into the game, right? Sometimes that's all you have to do, is get out of your head and literally just jump into the game and kind of juggle what you need to juggle, but to be spontaneous in that, and then the excitement will overwhelm your intention, and then your intention will allow you to express that in so many ways that you only become a vortex of your own creation. And it's not easy. And sometimes we go through times where we don't feel good, or go through times where some of you might be even throwing up because you're clearing energy. Some of you might not feel bright and energized. Some of you might be tired. You have to respect that. Respecting the journey is respecting what comes with it. Sometimes we don't really know what comes with the journey. We don't know the challenges. We don't know the circumstances. We don't know what is going to happen and what will happen, because life is full of uncertainty, and we don't always expect things, because we lose expectations when we get on the path. And that's the kicker, because we have to lose the expectation, because if we have the expectation, then it's correlating something with lack. It's correlating something with being unworthy, with being lowly, with being this or that. When we are none of those things, when we ditch expectation and we only have appreciation within our space. And sometimes you might go through it for a week. You might go through it for a month. I've even had times in my awakening where I've been depressed. And I don't think people really talk about this, because they're always afraid to not be seen in a certain way. But if we don't talk about these things, how are we going to get through them? And if we don't spread the word, then the word will not be interpreted in the way that it should be. That's why there's people who share. That's the art of sharing. Sharing allows you to be transformed. When you give a part of yourself and you give your life to God's source energy and the great I am, when you give back to another person, you allow yourself to receive even more. But first you have to receive before you give. Then it gives you the ability to give so much more out of yourself, your time, the essence of God's source energy in every single way, in all ways to no end, because there is no end on this planet. We always are rushing to get to the end of the movie. We're always rushing to get the end of this brisk iced tea. We're always rushing to get to the end of something. And that's why most human beings always run on autopilot. We're always going. But then when we are attuned to meditation and spirituality, then we have to stop. And that freaks us out as human beings. And I didn't even get this message when I was supposed to channel this message. But it freaks us out when we stop for a moment. It really scares us. And the reason why it scares us, because it forces us to face ourselves. It forces us to see ourselves in such a light that we're being reflected that light. And then it doesn't become so much like this when the light is so bright. Now you just kind of, okay, blast me into the next universe, blast me into the next parallel reality, blast me into the next state of being. And then the light is not so bright to you anymore. So it's understanding that when that scares us, or that fear, or that intimidation of just stopping for a moment, it actually means that we're gaining back all the power that was stripped away from us from previous lifetimes, from family things, even things that are in the present here and now. Because a lot of us are understanding that we have to go our own way. And going our own way is just laying a foundation so that we can go our own way. But learning how to receive the wisdom. Learning how to discern the wisdom, but also learning how to discern what energy that you're supposed to be in and what realm you're supposed to be in, what arena you're supposed to be in metaphysically. Because a lot of you will resonate with one message that I give or healing that I'll do, but maybe you won't resonate with the next thing, right? But it's kind of understanding, it's kind of like if you're not really resonating with that group of people, it doesn't mean what they're doing is off energetically. You just don't resonate with that group of people. And that's where we have to learn where we're supposed to be. So we all have to find our community, we all have to find ourselves, and we all have to find out how we channel our energy. Because if we don't, then we're kind of like a chicken with its head cut off, and we don't know like where to go. Like, oh, do I do Reiki? Do I do this? And that's why people do so many things with their gifting. But one of the things that I feel like is very impactful is to not see your gifting and thinking that it has a ceiling. I do healings, I do meditations, I do activations, I do where spirit guides me. And I always felt like that was the most powerful thing. Don't think that there's a limitation to your giftings. Don't think that there's a limitation to the gift or being enlightened or meditation. It's just seeing where you're purifying, where you're coming from instead of where you're going. We always think if we go there, if I go to Belize, then I'll be happy. But what if you go to Belize and you're not happy? We always think that if we just throw the dart and we get the bullseye, then we get the instantaneous reward. And sometimes it's not like that. It's kind of hard because you might hit it perfectly 3 times, but it doesn't mean you get the instantaneous manifestation. Because manifestation does take time. Manifesting your destiny takes a lot of time. Because I can tell you right now, it's just understanding that the reward is living, is being a gift, is being of service, is sharing and being daring enough to choose the life of your own choosing. So the reward sometimes isn't always physical. And sometimes it's not always just metaphysical. But sometimes it's receiving it here and now. Then you've already received it. And it's kind of like having the understanding that we have to go at our own pace. Why would we rush something, a project that we're doing? It could be a log cabin, it could be a painting, it could be something that you've been working on for 2 years. And why would you want to rush at the very end instead of having the finished product be so excellent, pristine, and perfected with the execution? So it's not about always rushing. Acceleration isn't rushing, it's not forcing, it's not controlling everything. That's the difference. Because if you rush, if you control it, if you try to execute it too early, then the syncopation and the repetition of what you're trying to bring into this universe isn't going to be what you want it to be. So I think it is balance. I think it's really just balance. If we don't have any balance in our lives, then we're going to be a scale that's just kind of like this all the time. It's like a teeter-totter, and there's too many people on it, and it feels like a roller coaster. If you want it to feel like a roller coaster, but you want it to feel like you want it to feel, into the relaxation of it, right? So, understanding that, we have to be patient, we have to allow, and we have to have the grace to demonstrate it. Because if we don't have that, then we're going about it from the human perspective, and we're going about it from a sense of ego instead of a purified ego. Instead of being clear and direct and aligned and being in the present moment, we don't just have a self-awareness of ourself. We have a self-awareness of what the higher self wants from us. And it ultimately wants us to be the God of our reality. But we have this misconception of God, because God is not a thing. God is everything. And we have to see everything, and we have to listen to the inner child of our heart and let that resound in everything that we do with that imagination. Because we can have a balanced masculine and feminine, but if the inner child and the masculine and the feminine are not balanced, then you're not going from your gut instincts or your heart or being able to perceive and think for yourself. I've had to learn that here recently. I've had to learn how to smile again, because I haven't been smiling lately, except for this live. So, we can't always be a negative Nancy. We can't always be a negative Nancy because it doesn't work. And here recently I've been shown that again and again and again and again and again, to the point where it feels like hitting your head against the wall and being reflected those things. And I'm going to say one thing. It's like sometimes when we have attacks or interferences psychically, sometimes that's also what's being revealed to us, what we need to clear within ourselves. That's being reflected to us, what we need to do. So sometimes it's not always about other people. Sometimes it's really about what we're not clearing within ourselves and what we're not learning, and being able to break through those thresholds. So even interferences can be reflections to you. And it's kind of like if you track certain patterns within your relationships, or bullies, or something that just comes into your life all the time. And you're like, why the hell do I always attract this? Well, there's a reason why you attract this, because there's something in your spirit that you're emanating. And that's a hard lesson too. That's a harsh lesson A lot of the times it's a harsh lesson because a lot of us think we know what we're doing. And I'm being very vulnerable in this live. A lot of us think we know what we're doing. We really are convinced that we know, but we really don't know only except upon our present experience. That's the only way that we really know, from the vantage point of who we are at this exact moment. But we don't know everything, we don't have it all figured out, and sure as fuck I don't. But that's the point. It's not for us to just have it figured out, because that's how most human adults live. That's how most human adults with children and things of that nature, they think they have it all covered. And then if you mess up something within their schedule, they lose their shit. It's kind of like those things, it's like you're carrying something or you're carrying groceries in the house. And they just all fall out of the bag. And then guess what? All of your enlightened, meditative, impactful stuff just goes out the window, right? I've had lives where I've stopped my life and I had a great one. And then my dog threw up on the carpet. It's like, why? If I'm so enlightened, if I have meditation in my wheelhouse, why would that happen to me? But why would I let that affect me if it's something that's just a part of life, right? That's the biggest kicker. That's the biggest, like, bitch slap, right? It feels true when I'm delivering the channel message. That's what it feels true. Feels very true. But all of us are being thrusted to be leaders, to be anointed, to be just there, to really be there, because there's some time that you're going to have to help somebody, you're going to have to nudge them in the right direction, and you're going to let them know that I've been around the block a few times, and I know from the vantage point from where you're sitting at and where you're standing at, it may feel like that, but that's just an illusion, and that's how we all get through the illusion, is from teaching each other or listening to each other. You know, it's like a lot of you in this like live right now, like, yeah, definitely, like I feel you too, you know, because here recently, you know, I'm usually Mr. Empowerment. Here recently, I haven't felt like that. But that doesn't mean that you're not empowered. It just means that more grace is accumulated to us because we have to demonstrate the truth. And we can't just give out information like that, especially information that we channel psychically, because we can't just come from a negative place. We have to come from a beautiful place so we can give them the divine, give them that essence. And the only time that I ever gave clients like negative information was just to help them guide through what they needed to clear. But there's some people who are aggressive and negative, and that's not helping anybody. And I'm not saying to be overly positive either. But when we don't empower our message and we don't try to switch things up and we don't try to make a big impact onto other people's lives, then is it self-service? Is it self-sabotage? And we don't want to sabotage other people or ourselves. But we want to give people the best, and we want to give people unconditional love. We want to give people and impart that wisdom so that they're able to carry the weight of the future, but also they're able to carry the weight of the sacred flame and pass the torch on to another seed that's been planted. We're all flowers, you know. Sometimes we have that droopy day. Sometimes that flower, it's kind of hanging like this, but guess what? Then we have the water to replenish it, right? And once you put that water in there, and not this pink lemonade, once you put that water in there, the flower just opens up. Sometimes you just need some water. It's okay. Sometimes you just need a little bit of miracle grow. It's okay too. And also another tip, when you're gardening, you can actually put dish soap with water in a container and put it on your plants as well. Sometimes we need a little bit of that. So a lot of us, as we're awakening, we're a lot like flowers. And sometimes you just need a little bit of water and just a little bit of help. And we'll be okay. You guys get the point. So guys, also, I want to let you guys know, we're about to do some healing energy, so if you wanted to stay tuned and receive this healing energy, I know Sabrina and Maya are on the feed. So we're going to do some healing energy. I'm going to use the rain stick today. And also I wanted to let you guys know I'm going to be going live tonight. I'm going to do readings, healings, activations at 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern, doing $30 donations. And also I wanted to let you guys know that you guys can book private sessions and also just book a time, date, and day. It's $170 for 1 hour and 2 hours for $270. So we're going to do some healing energy. I'm going to be using the rain stick today. It feels very necessary to use the rain stick today. So if you guys want to breathe in and breathe out and also receive this healing energy as I'm delivering the message, whatever you want to do. Archangels of love and light, who's willing to cleanse us of our auric field, tapping into God's first energy and the great I am, diving deep into Middle Mother Gaia Earth, and allow ourselves to ground into the earth, to ground into all of our chakras, and to also have this beautiful violet pink energy coming in from Andromeda. And the dusky pink dragon from Andromeda is helping clear all of our chakras as well. Some of you have had past lifetimes there as well. But also with this healing energy, we can allow ourselves to heal emotionally, allowing ourselves to transmute the dark night of the soul and to allow the light to crash in and to channel that light and to channel that essence and to see ourselves like flowers. Sometimes we have those droopy days, but let's give ourselves some water. And if we need to put a little dish soap in the water, let's do that as well. And let's allow ourselves to change our frame of mind, to change our frame of body, but to change the perspective, the beliefs, everything that we are going through as a human collective, and seeing ourselves push through the boundaries of limitation, push through the boundaries of unworthiness, and just being able to give ourselves a subtle push of all the energies that need to be integrated and just push it all out. And doing the Kundalini so that we can shed that layer of snake skin or take off the mask, whatever it may be. Doesn't matter. And let's just shed layers and layers and layers. And let's just allow ourselves to be renewed, rejuvenated, and to be able to channel the energy of the present. And allow ourselves to really follow our hearts. And it's okay if you're confused, it's okay if you haven't been feeling energized, it's okay if you haven't been feeling very happy, but all of that allows you to experience what we once were, and then we are able to see ourselves over here doing our best, being our most pure, being our most aligned, and allowing ourselves to channel the higher self. Because we saw all this stuff, but now we want more of this stuff. That's the good stuff, right? We don't want that other stuff. Jesus is helping us right now, and he's helping us with the palms. He just drew this circle on my palms. So he's helping us like channel our energy. So a lot of you can do this with your palms right now. And the Apostle Paul is coming in with this bionic blue ray of healing as well. It's very beautiful energy. And also the tree people are here as well, helping us ground, but also helping us use the power of I am, because that's what they say most of the time. There's some that do speak, but they don't speak in a dialect we understand. Some can speak our language, but a lot of them just say, I am Groot. So Groot is the real thing. So, but using the power of I am, like I am blessed, I am whole, I am healthy, I am everything that I want to become. I am that I am. I am because you are, and you are because I am. And we're also going to tap into the inner child, so just see your inner child here and now. See yourself, it doesn't matter if you're 9 or 10 or 7, but allow yourself to pick up the inner child and place it into your heart. And then Mary Magdalene's helping us with the feminine energies coming in very strongly. And we have Archangel Michael helping us with the masculine energy. So when the inner child, the feminine, and the masculine are connected, that means we come from the gut, we come from the heart, and we come from a guidance mechanism. So that is where everything is connected as the twin heart. And for a moment, we can just hold space for the entire collective. So I'm going to clap my hands, and then the transmission will be complete. Everybody take a deep breath. Exhale. And so it is. Okay. Thank you. So thank you guys so much for being part of this live. There's been days I haven't been feeling as good. Actually, been kind of sick lately. I don't know if I got a bug or something or ate something, but I'll be doing more of these, and I appreciate everybody who was a part of the live and just received and listened. Thank you so much. And also, guys, I'll be going live tonight around 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern, $30 donations for readings. And also, if you want to book a private session, just text me time, date, and day when you're free. And also, I think that's it. So God bless, namaste. It's good to see you all. And I hope this message blessed you in the healing. God bless. Namaste.